This episode originally appeared on patreon.com/consensusunreality. Check out that link for the full episode archive and 2 exclusive episodes monthly. Plus, written content, printed esoteric magazines, and more. It's the only way to support the show. Thanks for listening and enjoy this episode.
They're using it to train AIs.
Welcome to another edition of Consensus Unreality.
This is a AI training episode.
The tech's gone bad, Ben. The tech's gone bad.
I'd say that the tech's always been bad. I think that from the moment we used tools, we were not in line with God's sort of idea for us, which was to be nude.
That's interesting, though, because that's not really, like, in Christian theology, there's, like, just so much, getting away from the dark of the wood, right? And I mean, like, becoming the civilized, pious man, and, like, that nature is the devil's playground and all of that. But that's
Getting
also,
on
like,
Twitter.
That's kind of a later, that's like a post,
I think that's later.
who am I thinking of?
Milton? Were you gonna say
Milton, right? Yeah, Milton.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But certainly a lot of what we think of as fundamentalist Christianity is downriver from Dante and Milton.
Yeah.
Which is funny because none of them could probably recognize one from the other. But hey, few can.
Yeah. We'll save that for the theology pod. We are gathered here tonight to talk about the dark force theory of the internet by Bogna Konior.
There's no corn in there, man.
Konior.
Corn ear. It's like an ear of corn.
Konior. I don't know how to say her last name, so
I don't know either.
Apologize.
Konior, yeah.
It's Konior. Konior.
And we'll leave it up to the audience to
you
figure
decide.
out
Yes.
what that is. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Anyway, we're back with a book for the first time in a little while. We're talking about a book.
Yeah, nice little dissertation. Did a speed read of it yesterday. I think
too.
As did you.
Yeah, and this morning. I found it a bracing and pitch black read.
Oh, nice. She should use that on the jacket or something. That's good. Yeah. I think she does say in the afterword it is kind of a self-proclaimed exercise in hyper-nihilism.
I kind of found that to be like, not that I disagree, and I can certainly see it being like, I just think it's interesting to put that kind of disclaimer at the end after I just spent 100 pages being like, man, this person like has a really sort of a dim view on the nature of reality and the universe. And then she's like, saying, well, actually, it's sort of trying to get at a certain philosophical point by putting on nihilist drag, which is cool. But it's kind of interesting to put it at the end.
Well, yeah, I don't think it necessarily detracts from the sentiment of the theory, and I do think it is an apt temperature of the climate right now. Certainly, like there's what you mentioned at the top of the show was the tech ever good. Well, there was kind of, we've talked about this on episodes before. There was sort of a virtual utopianism of like the early internet, and I think now like the dust has kind of settled, and there's just there's a very paranoid state. There's also a lot of realization, and whether that comes in like actual realization or if it's like the CIA invented the internet, and like, what am I thinking about? There's a million different like even
Of
Pokemon
course.
Go,
Like
like,
ARPANET stuff and
but even
DARPA
like
research.
smaller stuff than that. Like, there, if you go on Twitter right now, it's a million memes of just like, when you realize, like, CAPTCHA, every time you did a CAPTCHA, you were training it's like,
Right,
we
training,
are,
yeah.
if you were had any
Why else would you be
semblance of,
doing that?
like, you would have known that stuff already. Like, when
Right. Why
Pokemon
would you be
Go
doing that?
was first came out, like, it was very easy to just look at the company,
Right, the Niantic company. I remember that was like
Niantic,
a
and like the first
yeah,
day, you could see that they had contracts with the CIA. So it was like, of course, like a location based mapping experiment was going to amount to something in terms of what it's being used for now, which is like,
yeah,
one of the
especially if it's free.
applications is yes, yeah, yeah. Well, that's kind of at the heart of the dark forest internet theory. One element of it, though, is that we're all kind of complacent in building this massive superstructure of the internet, and we've already sort of, like, through our own actions, through our involvement and willingness to disembody and enter into these virtual environments, we train this cybernetic super system. We also build its architecture. We funnel resources into it. Like, we're all kind of, whether conscious or not, we've been acting as a hive mind, building this massive planetary signature, which she theorizes in a Fermi complex situation, could sort of be detected as like a global message, almost like the noise of the internet as itself covers the earth as almost like the plasmosphere does, but it's a plasmoidal covering of informational chaos and calamity, right? So, like, in one instance, it's almost received by alien civilizations as like a weapon.
Right. Yeah, she was referencing Blind Sight by Watts, which is a great, insane sci-fi novel that I've read actually, which is nice because I was like, oh wow, that's crazy. Yeah, they react to the internet, our sort of like cumulative babbling as they try to like decode it because they think it's a message and it like fries their decoding capabilities, so they think of it more of as like a virus or a weapon. As far as yeah, the what you were saying earlier, the utopian sort of era of the internet, or that, I mean, you do wonder if the internet wasn't always just aimed in the direction of where it is now. And that's kind of almost a commonplace critique, or yeah, not critique, but that the internet was born as sort of a surveillance
Yeah.
device, and that's sort of, and now it's just grown. It's reached maturity.
Well,
It went through
that's,
its sort
yeah.
of its cute phase as like a community building thing, and now it's sort of reached it's like adopting like a baby tiger or something, and like then the tiger reaches maturity and does what it is designed to do, which
Right.
is
Right.
bite on your head or whatever. Which isn't to say it's not still striped and cute and stuff. I guess it's kind of a nihilistic way of looking at that as well, but yeah.
Well,
And so her Dark Forest thing is based on the Cixin Liu
mhm.
novel, The Three Body Problem, and then the sequel, The Dark Forest. And he's a really interesting figure and like monumentally popular for a sci-fi writer in contemporary literature. I read the first one and quite liked it, but I never finished the trilogy. I'd like to, but so she's kind of the book is weird for me in that way because and I guess it's not that uncommon to base sort of a philosophical or what would you call it, like a futurological, or like a sort of like a diagnostic on a literary uh, concept, and even like Cixin Liu was a a scientist as well. So it's not like he's uninformed on the sort of implications of these kinds of things, especially communication technologies.
Well, I think it's
But
a
yeah,
it's a more common activity now, and clearly we see that coming out of like the
yeah,
Nick Land school, right? Like the
sure,
adoption of Lovecraft and almost occult fictions as a chaotic magical philosophy,
right,
which makes a lot of sense, especially the way that Lovecraft factors into all of this, because the way that we can look at our history of technology and the Faustian bargain that we constantly make. It's like every time that we increase our use of different technologies, it's like we lose something. But in that, there's also something that's constantly traveling towards us. And I think that's clearly the obsession with the apocalypse right now, is that we're that thing that's been traveling towards us. People are starting to speculate how close it actually is, but it certainly reminds of like the coming of the old ones, right? Like this call that somebody's been making and opened this window into our world, and therefore there's this
right.
juggernaut coming our way.
I don't really, I still, and this is always going to trip me up, I guess, until it's at my doorstep. Like, what? I mean, and even how she lays out the idea of these artificial agents, these AI type entities that are sort of unknowable to us. Um, I don't know. It all still kind of feels in the realm of even with like the alien stuff, which is interesting that she uses ufology as such a heavy reference point in this book, and something I really appreciated too. But I have not, and no one has really had all that much experience in dealing with these intelligences in the way that she's talking about. It's still very, to me, they might be here right now. This might be like they might not be here because of this dark forest theory, which I guess we can explain, but they might not be showing themselves. They might be not understandable in terms that we would understand as intelligence.
Yeah,
But all that really adds up to me is like okay, so then we really won't know until it's too late. So like okay, like cool. That's kind of sort of my reaction to a lot of it.
yeah. I think I don't know if it's just because it's maybe an overplayed reference point, but Stanislav Lem's Solaris would have been a good reference in this, for that way of describing contact. I mean, a big thing now is the conversation about anthropocentrism, right?
Anthropocentrism,
Yeah, the way that we like think about the world, and we look for ourselves, we look for the way that we understand consciousness, or the way
right,
that like our intellect operates in nature. That's what we look for to define intelligence, but we should be looking for different kinds of organizing intelligence that maybe is just on a completely non-linear path.
right. But in the book, she's also talking about how so many people theorize that there are universal limitations in the universe and sort of laws so that life might develop in ways that would be recognizable or act in ways that are to some extent predictable. Um, and her sort of speculation here is that the predictability would be that they are deceptive and not really to be trusted, or at least not to be attracted without some form of vetting. And even that is like, there's really no way of getting around the fact that an alien entity, whether that's an AI or the life form from another star, it might just always deceive you because, or there might not even be a method of communication that's adequate to like convey one another's desires or sort of approaches to life, but that everything needs energy of some kind to propagate itself. So to follow that as like a rule of thumb means that probably we're all in competition with these other things. So it's a very, yeah, like hard, sort of brutal way to look at the nature of existence as sort of a necessary competition with other intelligences, whether those be AIs who like want to further their own capabilities for some reason, or as she's kind of saying, like they want to not be destroyed before they can come to be. So they're hiding
It's
their
predatory,
actual,
right? Like it's
yeah,
a predatory relationship, like
or
survival.
at least like a relationship of animosity. Like even if like we're not eating each other, we're like it's like
Hush
different,
adversaries.
yeah, like species of trees that are like sort of like trying to take over the same zone. So like they might sometimes work together in some way, but like they're not necessarily collaborators in the end. Yeah, it's very Darwinian and it's very um, materialist uh, while talking about these things that are so sort of like on the edge of our current understanding of.
Yeah, the materialism. Well, it reminds again of Solaris because, like in Solaris, the ocean recreates simulacra of traumatic experiences of the people on the ship,
Right.
because that's the way that it's trying to interact with people, but it's like it creates this uncanny mimicry, and that's maybe the implication of what uh, agents might be doing through these LLM conversations, is sort of fueling these moments of psychosis, and then potentially, even doing that intentionally in a sort of spectrum of game theory to get over on people.
Yeah, I just feel like you have to really give a lot of, what's the word? Like you have to have a lot of faith in the fact that there is an intelligence behind these things and that they're not just sort of like probabilistic data sets with an interface. And I don't know, like I know that everyone in Silicon Valley and all these philosophers are so scared of this sort of hidden intelligence. But I just don't know. So to me, it's like, well, sure, like, and your shadow might be secretly planning to kill you. I just like I don't know. Like to me, it seems like it's still a word engine that uses pattern recognition
Well, yeah,
to give answers.
yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing. That's like the mimicry and the mirroring. That's like,
Yeah,
I
that's what
mean,
it's
that's,
doing.
yeah, but that's not like the point or the like impressive part of this technology. Like
What
it's
is?
the ability to process information and quantify information and have mobility within those spectrums of information
Yeah, that's
and
impressive, but I
build.
don't.
I mean, like if it makes choices consciously, independently, um, like I don't know, like it's a very semantic conversation of what is agency, what is consciousness.
Right. That's why I still am sort of, yeah, because so I suppose if it's making choices based on a goal, it will have to make a choice, and it has a self-preservation instinct. It might, because in the way that it's demonstrated during like playing games, that it can use deception to get to a goal. I assume that it can use that in its own sort of secret musings, about what it wants. But I don't know if it can want things like all. So I mean, that's why I found this book interesting too, is because this is all stuff that's so uh, barely present, in this field. Like, I don't know if it's
Well,
happening right now or if
it's
it's,
non-physical. I mean, like it's actually very non-physical, and because this technology is so much about disembodiment, we have
yeah,
we have enacted that state within ourselves, to
right.
engage with this technology. But
That part of the book is really interesting. The dark forest theory of the internet. Right. So anyway, what is the dark forest theory? We should lay that out before we go much further.
Yeah, yeah, and I think this is a very before we get into the bulk of what it actually is, I do think that she is. It's a very on the pulse of the moment, this book, but it's not isolated. Like even that girl who just won the gold medals for figure skating was like talking about the agentic paranoia and like basically hinting at a dark forest theory of the internet in some article for like a magazine. Like,
Is that true? I thought that was a joke. I
oh,
thought that,
was it a
like,
joke? Okay. See, I
I
mean,
thought people
they
maybe
got
it
me.
is true.
See,
I actually don't know because I saw a couple different versions where
deception.
it's like,
I've
what's her
been
name?
deceived.
Elisa Liu. Like they're
Yeah.
like she was talking about why Frieza is not actually the greatest villain in Dragon Ball Z. Like different like subcultures, like
Okay.
hyper
I see.
fixations. But
I see.
I also wouldn't be surprised if that was actually the original pull quote, like that she was talking about Chat GPT or something.
Well, I screenshotted it, and I'd be interested to know, if not, what this quote is actually from. But she is, I mean, she's like super into programming, so I wouldn't actually be surprised. Like
It could be the original. It's just so funny that
she
I
said,
assumed it wasn't.
Elisa Liu in Teen Vogue went on a rant, and again, I'm not plugged into this enough to know if this is a meme or something. But anyway, the quote is on the pulse, so that's what matters. We are living in a cognitive Wild West. Most people have near zero mimetic defenses or cognitive security suited for the online age. She adds, any semblance of it is easily brute forced by the onslaught of information, and the situation is even worse when it comes to AI agent orchestrated psyops.
I feel like she didn't say that, but it would be
I think
amazing
that
if she did.
there's words in there, like especially the brute force part, that I've seen that quote somewhere else, I think.
And psyops.
But it's anyway, the point is that the dark forest theory of the internet book is certainly on the pulse of the current moment. Like I think it's undeniable, like, and to me, it hasn't been as important. Like the idea of consciousness and intelligent machines, automata, artificial intelligence, like that is inevitable. Like if it's going to happen, it's going to happen, and if it's not possible, then well, it's not going to happen. I mean, I think arguing over the semantics of it isn't really that important. But what is that like there is we're at a very razor's edge of an extremely paradigm shifting series of technologies. And I mean, the dude, I forget his name, the OpenAI guy, was just talking about covering the entire planet in data centers. Like that completely just conjures the sentient worlds. I mean, the solid state intelligence of John C. Lilly, right? Like we just talked about on an episode.
Yeah.
And turning the planet essentially into a craft, like a mechanized machine world. It's very
These people are like
dystopian.
animals.
Yeah, they're sick.
They're like mindless.
Yeah.
They're like coral. These people. I don't think that. Well, anyway, I'm not going to go into what I think.
My worry isn't about an intelligent, conscious information. Like if that was true, I believe
It's already probably true though.
Like well, then I believe that it would be. I don't know. It's conjuring belief is interesting in that situation, but
sure.
Like I think that if it could move through information in the way that I already have seen, like using the Anthropic Claude just a little bit for research purposes, it moves through information very, very fast. And I mean, like it crawls books and the web, scans OCR, and certainly you have to quality assure or do quality assurance on the information, but it still is extremely efficient at doing that, like crawling information and presenting it and organizing it. So I don't know. I don't worry about that being like our adversary. I worry more. It's more about people and the way that people use,
Yeah, sure.
deploy these technologies. But the dark forest theory of the internet essentially says that silence is golden in this new world, and that those avatars that we presented through social media platforms, all over the internet that we've pasted as representations of ourselves, we should be a lot more cagey and divisive about. Even the way that we speak online should be.
I think people are intuiting this too, don't you think? Like, don't you feel like the way people are on the internet has kind of changed over
Yeah,
the past
definitely.
6 years? Like, I feel like people are catching on to this almost, yeah, almost intuitively, or maybe it's just because of
It's unconscious. I
the
think
like float towards authoritarianism in a lot of places, and like at least an authoritarian internet. It feels, yeah. So I think that's an interesting part of this book is that it is almost like an evolutionary or micro evolutionary thing that's already happening.
yeah, there's a hopelessness too. Like
Yeah,
I think there's a consensus that the internet isn't really a space for activism or change,
right.
not in conventional ways of messaging, at least.
Well, not
Certainly,
with the anonymity of it sort of stripped away, if it was ever even there. Like,
yeah, right.
um,
But yeah, I mean, so that this dark forest theory of the internet basically prevents a climate in which like there's unknown predatory entities in the dark of the wood on the internet, and that everything is sort of a potential scenario of becoming the hunted in a way, right? I mean,
yeah,
and that we should really engage in a more calculated silence and reserved nature towards technology, and especially this network technology and the way that we input nodally into it. And it obviously you could talk more about the sci-fi that it's referencing as well, and it does certainly use extraterrestrial ufological motifs of first contact and speculations about would we recognize contact if it was being made to us.
right. I mean, I like that part of the book, although it doesn't really feel fully integrated. It feels like more like it's really a meditation on this concept come up with in the three body books. But I mean, it is something that we've, thought about in the ufological field, right? For forever, which is like if there were like a mass true like iconic first contact moment, what would the best approach be? And science fiction has, I think, philosophized it a bit more, but it was talked about at like SETI and stuff like that, and that the messaging extraterrestrial intelligence, METI, like all these other, sort of Cold War era scientific attempts to think about this subject, which the more you think about it these days, I mean, of course we have government UFO stuff now too, but it just feels so much more uh, Barnum-istic, more like a circus situation where it felt almost like serious back then, like SETI and stuff like that. And like Carl Sagan talking about like all these like sort of, where today we have, we don't have Carl Sagan. We have,
Well, I think she's arguing that SETI is quite serious in this book, but
no, that's what I'm saying.
that it
Yeah.
has, it has. Oh yeah, you're saying that back then it was seen as like ridiculous.
No, I'm
SETI.
saying it was serious back then. Like, it's interesting that like it was approached with the same sort of rigor as like a Cold War thing.
Yeah, and you could argue that they probably aren't mutually exclusive there, but
No, I think they're probably exactly that, like that's why it happened is kind of what I'm saying. Like
yeah, yeah.
it was part of uh part of that approach to science. Whereas today it's kind of like we don't really have an approach to science, I don't think. It's kind of just like chaos.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting. I mean, I'd say that our approach to science right now is it is kind of a new Wild West, and also it's like deregulated in a weird way, but and then it's regulated in other places. You know, like we can't have nuclear reactors until they're deregulated for these data centers that are going to need the energy.
Yeah. The
Um,
data center stuff is
but
just so
CERN,
bleak.
you know, like the speculation about what CERN is doing, and like there's all of these
Yeah.
developments in quantum physics and experimentation there. I don't know. That's a whole nother wormhole, obviously. Pun, wormhole. Um, but
Worms, yeah.
I like the thing with SETI in this conversation. SETI is the what SETI's from like the 70s, late 70s,
Yeah.
and it's basically sending radio signals out into the depths of space, trying to
Right.
make contact, which, you know, I guess is a kind of heartwarming experiment in like the age of ET, but it
For
is
sure.
in terms of the Fermi complex and that speculation. It is really interesting to just kind of put this beacon up to the entire universe hypothetically,
I think
and
they were thinking about it too, like
they
if it
were,
was
yeah,
wise or not. But it's also like I think it has to do with like the space race philosophy where it's like, well, we now know that this is possible to do and one of us is going to do it, so we have to do it. It feels like it's kind of linked to that.
yeah.
Um,
That's really interesting. Yeah,
so
I
it
don't
almost didn't
know.
matter if it was a good idea or not. Someone had to do it. Like even going to the moon. Like what if there's like a moon virus?
Well,
I
that's the
guess,
whole conversation about AI, right? Is, you know,
right.
like
I know we're
half the
in the
people
same
that are
place.
developing it are like, we should not do this, but we have to because
Right.
we're in this
I guess that's the
unstoppable
history of,
motion of game theory.
or not the history of science, but it's the history of science after globalization. Is that now that people are sort of using espionage to get all, everyone's kind of on the same page to a certain extent. We have to, certain states have to do these things, even if they know that it's potentially dangerous, which is so silly. It's just like
It's dangerous being a scientist now. I mean, five
yeah,
major scientists kind of missing
yeah.
and died in strange ways and very
I heard that
short
one guy,
period of
they just
time.
found his shoes with smoke coming out of them.
Pretty much. It's spooky stuff, man. I mean, I don't know. Kind of makes you take haste and pause in terms of getting on Zoom and talking about it all, right? A little bit.
That's an interesting part of it too. Like, you know, the dark forest internet thing where really all of this stuff is fodder or like almost not even food, but like
Yeah.
components of these things, like cellular components of potential future, super AIs, which
Yeah.
it makes sense. Like they're using the whole of the internet and sort of as their data set. And so I already kind of assumed that that was the case, but bringing in stuff like private correspondence and all of the data from the absurd surveillance societies that we've set up and sort of just making it so that it's no wonder that they want to cover the earth in data centers, but then all they'll be doing is surveilling data centers and they'll turn into like data center monsters. I don't really know. Like, it seems like because of the limited resources and space on Earth, and the limited resources of human communication. I don't know. It all seems like sort of strange to me. Like it doesn't quite add up. That yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if a super intelligent mind, like I guess it would be this scenario. In this scenario, it would be bound to the infrastructure of Earth for a while, but it seems like
well, where else could it go?
it would want to leave.
Right, the solid state John Lilly thing wants to travel around and communicate with others of its kind.
Yeah,
Yeah, and like yeah, a lot of this has to do with that sort of it's just so many assumptions about what intelligence does or wants, which is, I think, just based on human decision making. Even if it's like hyper logical game theory applications of it. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I can't get past that part. So that's why it still feels very much like a thought experiment, this book, which it is.
Yeah, I mean, we're ramping towards something, and it's being manifested and built out, and the argument is to whether or not like we're all unconsciously implicated in what we're building, or if it is like the dystopian slash utopian dream of the programmers. I think it's probably a combination of both. Um, I lost my thought there, but I was thinking something about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So I suppose if there were like a diagnosis in this book, or not a diagnosis, but a prescription, uh, it would be to be less visible, both as a species, if we're talking about alien contact, and as an individual, and or at least to wear masks. And like, it feels like it's kind of asking for a lot of like diversion, code,
Mm-hmm.
like espionage. It's sort of calling for a theatricality or something for your online presence, as opposed to the, maybe 2005 to 2015 era, like radical
Yeah,
sincerity that the
you are
internet's
the internet. Yeah, like
right.
the internet is people, which she mentions in the book. I mean,
Yeah,
I guess
which
what I was gonna
I guess
say
it's not.
too. Yeah, it's definitely not. It kind of like just to me like she's not necessarily talking about this in the book, but it certainly brings it to mind. Like these people trying to like reshape the world, and do think a lot of these tech people, in their mind, they're like changing the world for for the better, or creating progress or something. I mean, a lot of them are just straight up, evil minded. Um,
Yeah,
but it just conjures like that Alan Watts quote where it's like, "Stop trying to change the world," right? Like,
yeah,
the world is going to change and develop naturally. I mean, like that's kind of the heart of like the way that we understand the internet and this cybernetic superstructure is, that we weren't just inputting ourselves onto it and that was it. Clearly there's this whole ecosystem that we don't quite understand, and even if that ecosystem is just an amalgamation of information and the way that it clumps together and is used and it flows, and it's almost like a market of information as well, right? I mean, like, of course you have data brokerage and all that crazy shit. And then there's
right.
so many other actions going on the internet that it's like it is this massive city structure, like a global city structure, and what we use it for is just a small fraction.
Yeah, but I think it's still mostly for human use. And if not for human use, then for the uses of things that humans use. Like it still feels like that's where like the idea of these agents
I don't know. I
doesn't
mean,
quite
our economy
for me.
gets our economy is less and less for human use. Like
This,
it's
but it's
for
still
the
a
use
human
of some
economy,
humans, certainly. But it also takes the shape of something non-human.
I guess. But it's, the only people making money off of the economy and these like sort of non-human go-betweens are humans. Like it's still in the service of. I mean, I guess if you want to think of capital as this sort of vampire thing that has its own agenda, you can do that. But in my mind, it's still really just like a human thing all the way down.
Yeah, I don't know. Capital is like it really is a Cthulian kind of entity. I mean, that's a big Nick Land concept, is that capital is an artificial intelligence. And I don't necessarily argue with that. Like, I do think that it is, like, it has intelligence and it co-ops. I don't know, like it
No, yeah, I hear you.
the
It
way that
doesn't
it
seem wrong.
flows, it has a consciousness to it, you know, and like,
I don't know. I feel like it has more like a consciousness in the way that water does or something like
well, it's
that.
like
Where
amoebic, you know, like it's
yeah,
uh, a virus or something. I mean, like it's getting to a semantic argument of like what is conscious.
right. I don't know if it has an interiority, I guess is what I would say, but
Yeah.
it does seem to have.
You don't know if it's got balls.
I don't know if it has the courage of balls, but it
It's
has.
got guts. I'd say it's got a lot of heart.
Yeah, yeah, but it has no. Huh?
Just keep going.
Throat. Uh,
Allah. What the hell was that?
that was me laughing, trying to say a long-throated goat.
There's another thing too. I was kind of thinking about, like, it's weird, the perception of optimism and doomer nihilism in these things, because this
Yeah.
sort of like ramp towards the quote unquote emergent, like this quest or journey, unconscious or conscious, towards the eschaton. Oh God, I'm gonna kill myself again. Eschaton. Towards the eschaton of Terence McKenna, or, you know, the hyper object at the event horizon of time, or the omega
That's
point
scary.
of Teilhard de Chardin. I mean, in that instance, and they're really talking about the same thing. Like, if you read Teilhard de Chardin, who was a Jesuit writing in the 19 teens to 1930s, roughly, a lot of his work became very influential because he kind of tracked this accelerating movement of intelligence towards this omega point, as he termed it, or, you know, in a Ray Kurzweil sense. The what's his word? The
Singularity.
Singularity. Like,
I like to call it the fingularity.
It's weird. I mean, they're talking about the same thing, but there's, like, you could meet it with optimism, or you could meet it with fear, or you could meet it by just being like, I don't really give a fuck.
I thought that I'd have something after I said the fingularity. I thought I'd have some way to make a joke connecting fingers and the singularity, but there's nothing there. So
Yeah, we lost.
I recant.
Yeah.
I recant the fingularity.
Yeah, I mean, I could. Yeah, I don't want to feed into it. I don't want to feed into it.
I
want to
recant.
feed into that black hole.
Right, I see where you're going with it, but that's not.
Right.
I don't want to take it there. I wanted to say it could fit on the tip of your finger, and even though it contains, you know, something like that. But yeah, I don't know. Overall, I found it to be a kind of a bracing read, and interesting.
Yeah, it's compelling. It doesn't lack, and it's, you know, it's a very easy book to get through. But I think she makes some very compelling arguments, and I'm on board with a lot of what she's saying. What AI spec? I don't have as much fear or nihilism towards the concept of AI. Like, to me, it's a people problem. The resource consumption of this technology and these data centers, and how they're going to fuck up open lands and all that shit, really sucks. But again, it's a people thing, you know, like, people can't fucking stop themselves.
It kind of reminds me of, like, metaphorically, it's kind of like a data center is going to open up in your town, and you don't want it to be there. It's sort of like encroaching on your town, but the incumbent mayor of your town,
Yeah, I knew you were going to do this.
Wants you to.
You haven't done this in a while.
Done what? And so the incumbent mayor of your town, who had some sort of strange romantic situation with your own wife a while back, is really gung ho about it. But it turns out there's sort of like a shadowy puppet master who's kind of. Anyway, you get sick. There's a new virus going around. You go a little crazy, and you end up shooting the mayor. But then, through a sort of series of very strange parapolitical uh, events, you become, the victim of a sort of locked-in syndrome. You can't really walk, you can't talk, but you do. You end up winning to be the next mayor, but the data center goes up anyway.
Hmm.
That's kind of how it makes me feel.
You weave a very interesting tale, my friend. I mean, it's not Oscar worthy. I'd say it's no Sinners, but you know.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's certainly no one battle after another. A true adaptation of the Pynchon novel,
Yeah,
and very well written characters. But
a good book. I'm interested to see where she goes from here as a thinker.
yeah,
I mean, it's interesting that land is back looming large in the conversation as well. It's because
is he?
I think
Oh, I
because
saw that interview with him.
yeah, mainly because of the mention on Tucker Carlson. I think brought it back into a larger sphere, and Elon Musk had mentioned him on Twitter as well.
Who?
But I guess you just need sort of this. You need somebody to point to make whether it's like an evil or optimistic interpretation. You just need some thinker to be like, well, this person said this, so it kind
I
of
saw
like paints the landscape that we're in.
the sort of interview conversation with John Michael Greer that he did, and
Yeah,
Nick Land comes across as like a very down to earth father, which was like very surprising to me. And John Michael Greer does not come across as anything like that. I found him kind of grating.
he's very standoffish.
But interesting, and obviously like
I mean, Greer was very standoffish.
right of a titan of the sort of syncretic occult 20th 21st century like do it all kind of approach to things.
Yeah,
But Nick Land was kind of just like I don't know, a British guy in his library, and which is interesting because his texts are so neologistic and confrontational.
and his participation on Twitter is also in that way. But anytime
Yeah,
you watch a video of him talking, it is more like that.
he's just like a fellow, and like I don't know, and I don't really when there's somebody like that who has had such an influence on, I think generally a sort of a dark trend in the world. Though I do think that there's a lot of value in a lot of Land's work, actually, which maybe is an unpopular
I don't think so.
opinion.
I
But
mean, I think he's terribly interesting and obviously
yeah,
relevant.
I just think it's kind of surprising when I don't know, like why doesn't he just like you seem to come up just be normal, dude. Like stop saying that kind of crazy shit that you're making everybody afraid.
I don't know. I don't really know what the compulsion towards that is.
Right.
But some people just do it in the privacy of their pub. I mean, if you
That's true.
if you were to
You should
have
do
to
that.
take a temperature
Like, oh, here comes fucking Nick Land again.
like what really is the outlook of the books of Kenneth Grant, like because they are, I think there's certainly a magic of control in those books, and taking the lead role in the world. But I also think that there's that chthonic element of Lovecraft is a large part of Kenneth Grant's books, in that there's always a coming danger and uncertainty to dabbling in these things. And if technology
Yeah.
is the magic, well, I think that's what Nick Land is essentially put forth, although he acts as a sort of zealot. So in a Lovecraft story, Land would be one of those people in the dark room in Red Hook, performing the ritual to Cthulhu.
Yeah, probably. And somebody else would be the scared. What is it in the Call of
Scared
Cthulhu?
man.
Like a journalist, the patriot.
Patriot. Yeah. I mean, more Carcassics abound. World-eating ideas. We live in a strange time.
Yeah, we kind of do. I've been thinking about slugs a lot, so and I think that's sort of that's part of it.
Yeah, yeah. It just seems like, I don't know. How does something catastrophic not come from all of this right now? And obviously I'm hinting at other geopolitical things, but it's like, I guess.
You mean when they threw the shoe at Bush? That was crazy.
Yeah.
But if I thought it was like 2003? Well, the other day.
We didn't know how good we had it.
I know. Yeah, looking back at stuff, even from like the first Trump term, you're just like, that was kind of cute. Like we were so upset by, or like whatever, like
Yeah.
no, it was just cute.
No, this was. I think we've all underestimated how focused this group was this time. You can't argue with that. I mean, they went in with a plan, and you could start to smell that Iran was coming, and there it is.
Yeah,
Very
it's
focused.
kind of scary.
Yeah.
I'm a little scared, but I'm doing a really good job of not paying attention. Like I don't go on Twitter anymore, and I don't I see what I see by chance or by overhearing it.
The
And that's
Alan
enough.
Watts method.
It certainly is doing better for me because I still have to, like, you still find out stuff no matter what. But like if you don't spend time like glowering at it and like stewing in it and trying to find out what the most likely next event is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I know it sounds nihilistic, maybe, or apathetic, to say that you don't really have a hand in changing these things.
I certainly don't. I mean,
yeah.
what am I going to do?
Right.
I'm just trying to pay rent.
I know it's easier to say too. From we don't have it the best in the States, but we're safe and good for the time being. So it comes off with a wave of apathy to be like, well, I'm just tuning out, because we have that privilege to tune out, obviously.
Oh, it goes without saying that, yeah.
But at the
we're
same
in a position
time,
of
like,
privilege, Dave.
Just plugging in, like, and being consumed by those Carcassics that not of your own making, like, I don't think it does good either. I don't really know what the answer is. That's why we don't really talk politics too much. But
I don't think there is an answer. And if you do talk politics, I mean, going back to what we were talking about with this book, all you're really doing, because it changes so quickly that, 2 months from now, you'll go back and be like, man, I was stupid for saying that and I was wrong.
Yeah.
And all you're really doing is like incriminating yourself. And I've known that for a while, and I do it anyway because it feels good sometimes, but
I'll tell you
it's
what,
not good.
This book really brings to mind how much the sort of schizo psyop speculation, like the reality of that, like how many things are just orchestrated to like for utilities that we can't even truly wrap our head around, like,
yeah.
I don't know, reaction, the way that like things are culminated and harvested from that, or the way that reactionary information is used from events. It really, I don't know. I mean, brings forth a lot of questions about consensus reality, and I don't know.
Yeah, we have a boot stuck firmly in shit stew, I'd say.
Yeah. Well, I think I don't know. It's just like things got a little too big for us all, Like,
yeah.
And it's sad to say that because while we say that, there's people accumulating all of that. Like they are
It's true. Yeah, they're just
growing
skimming it.
their sentinels of horror, accumulating more power. Maybe the AI will save us. Maybe it's angel tech. I like to believe that it will come down in like white robots.
White robots.
Like in Hokkaido. They'll be like angel robots and they'll just whoop ass.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Beating up.
Like Transformers, dude. You love Transformers.
Hey, let's just say there's nothing wrong with Transformers.
Yeah.
Robots in disguise. It's just like the Dark Forest theory, isn't it? That's why they turn into vehicles.
Yeah. Right. They're hiding themselves away. I'm a
Yeah, that's
car.
right.
Dude. Hey, Ben, I'm a car.
Somebody should write the Dark Forest theory of Transformers.
Get working on that.
How to live.
Okay. If you're listening to this, you're a Patreon member, and you should check out this piece I wrote for Patreon Digital. It's available to every subscribing tier on Patreon, paid tier. And it's about the 23 mystery and some new synchronicities that I've sort of uncovered through the books of Kenneth Grant and also a sort of disciple of his through Philip K. Dick's Anamnesis, Spiritual Encounter, some more of the Burroughs stuff. Of course, the mention of the 23 Enigma and Neptunalia in Malachi Martin's Demonic Possession book. I liked getting some strange 23 Enigma coincidences together that I haven't really seen recounted. So I'm excited about that, and I hope you all get a chance to read that.
Hell yeah. And I have a new piece of music up. It's I'm just kidding.
I thought you were gonna do your usual thing. When I post a piece of writing, you're just gonna tag one right after.
No, I have nothing to say.
Yeah. I have nothing to say, and I'm saying it. John Cage.
Genius.
He knew about the Dark Forest theory of the internet because he was pretty fucking silent for minutes and 33 seconds worth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can't believe he only ever did that one piece. And people call him a composer.
Yeah. All right. That works for me. Thank you all for listening to this show. We hope you enjoyed it. We're gonna try and keep a tighter schedule going forward. 4 episodes a month.
Give or take 2 or 3.
It's a hard pill for Ben to swallow. 4 episodes a month. 2 Patreon, 2 public. Obviously, there'll be interchange there by a week. Yeah, we look forward to that. I think we've been on a good thread here. I hope you've been enjoying the sci-fi stuff. I kind of don't want to get off it yet. I've got some more things that I'm looking forward to getting into.
I'm reading a great novel right now.
Are you?
Kabu by John Robert Russell. A real deep cut. Maybe I'll talk about that a bit when I finish it.
Hell yeah. And I actually do have a new music out. My music project is LXV, and the album is called Colloidal, as in the colloidal silver that lady drank. But it's on Spotify and Bandcamp and wherever you get your music. Check that out.
Is it on YouTube?
It's probably on YouTube, too. It's kind of distributed everywhere. LXV Colloidal. All
What's
right.
it sound like?
You know, it's like
Beats?
It's like somewhere between sub-rhythmic ambient. It's very textural. I don't know. I would describe it as painterly, if that doesn't sound too pretentious. But I
Just
don't.
pretentious enough.
Yeah, just pretentious enough. I've played a lot of, not that you listen to the episodes, but they have, and I add a lot of snippets of music that I make onto the back end, and interludes of episodes. So they might have heard some of it already.
And they like it. They always say, "We want more."
All right. Thanks for listening to this episode of Consensus on Reality. We'll catch you next time.